5,000-year-old Aboriginal cave painting of the WANDJINA, known as the sky beings. But how far back does documentation go? Discoveries of ancient cave art are all over the world, and they raise some interesting questions, especially ancient artwork in the form of cave paintings. The cave paintings that were discovered, for example, in Kimberley, Australia. Those who have gone deep into the lore associated with the UFO and extraterrestrial phenomenon are no doubt aware just how far back this phenomenon may go. Today, the UFO phenomenon is documented well and is taken very seriously, as in the past decades alone. It's gained a tremendous amount of well-deserved credibility, but there's also the fact that the documentation of this phenomenon dates back thousands of years. There are multiple cases outlined throughout history in most countries of the world, and many of them you can find in Dr. Jacques Vallée's book, Wonders in the Sky. But how far back does documentation go? Discoveries of ancient cave art all over the world raise some interesting questions, especially ancient artwork in the form of cave paintings that were discovered in Kimberley, Australia. These specific paintings I'm referring to were created about 5,000 years ago by the native Aborigines, and they illustrate entities that they refer to as the WANDJINA, or sky beings. And according to Richard Dolan, one of the world's leading UFO researchers, kindly support my Patreon account since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. So Richard Dolan says that these Aboriginal traditions were part of the beginning of creation and had great power over nature. One of them even became the Milky Way. When looking at the haunting images of the WANDJINA, it's easy to think of gray aliens, oversized heads, no hair, large black eyes, no ears, no mouth, a pure white skin. Until the modern era of UFOs and depictions of ET beings, scholars had no point of reference for the WANDJINA, no way to understand why these native Australians would create god beings so radically different in appearance from themselves. Now, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, WANDJINA style, also spelled WANDJINA with an O instead of an A, type of depiction in Australian cave paintings of figures that represent mythological beings associated with the creation of the world, called WANDJINA figures. The images are believed by modern Aborigines to have been painted by the WANDJINAs, prehistoric inhabitants of the Kimberley region in northwest Australia, the only area where cave paintings in the WANDJINA style had been found. Among the Aborigines, each WANDJINA image is renovated or repainted by the oldest living member, supposedly descending from its originator. Now, based on everything we know now, maybe these beings were not quite mythical as suggested. Maybe scholars also emphasize that they were considered cloud spirits, quote unquote. Again, there are many such strange depictions found all over the world. For example, not long ago, more paintings were discovered by scholars in Chhattisgarh, India, and according to archaeologist J.R. Bhagat, these paintings depict extraterrestrials. The Chhattisgarh State Department of Archaeology and Culture was planning to seek the help of NASA and ISRO for research regarding the paintings. That's the last I heard about it. Quote, the findings suggest that humans in prehistoric times may have seen or imagined beings from other planets, which still create curiosity among people and researchers. Extensive research is needed for further findings. Chhattisgarh, India, presently does not have any such expert who could give clarity on the subject. The paintings are done in natural colors that have hardly faded despite the years, and the strangely carved figures are seen holding weapon-like objects and do not have clear features. The nose and mouth are missing, and in a few pictures they are even showing where they're even showed wearing spacesuits. We can't refuse the possibility of imagination by prehistoric men, but humans usually fancy such things. This is what J.R. Bagat said. Now, Dolan goes on to describe many other examples in his book. There are many such ancient paintings on rocks and in caves around the world that depict what look like ET beings. In the northern Italian region of Lombardy, there is a rock painting dating to the Copper Age between 5,000 and 7,000 years ago. It depicts apparent priests or god figures. Each of them has what appears to be a halo, except that these halos look rather more like helmets with straight lines extending out from them. So the conclusion? Perhaps some of these beings are indeed extraterrestrial. Perhaps some of these beings are still visiting us today. The realization of this seems to have occurred through human history, but as we discover more and become more technologically advanced ourselves, perhaps some type of global interaction is part of our future. Perhaps it has already been for beings on other worlds. Always interesting to think about, because these realizations do indeed have tremendous implications. And let's remember, in about 2 weeks, we will have UFO ET disclosure by the Pentagon to the U.S. Congress. This was from Collective Evolution, published here under Creative Commons on Collective Spark. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support.